This is why I love this this time in life. I think we're we're living in the best times. To be honest, I just think, don't know how often I can reiterate that, but we're living in the greatest times in any time in history of the entire world. you know, to be able to just go, hey, I want to listen, I want to figure out how to play a song by POD. Boom, YouTube. There's a guy there from Russia, because I think that's where that guy was from. If you look at, if you look at that, like, I don't think you can see it exactly where it says that, but like here, right? Kind of, it's kind of Russian to me. If I can understand, that's kind of how they write. I might be wrong, but do check out Venom, right? I mean, young guy out there. I mean, this is from 2 years ago, but do check out Venom. I mean, just do I think seeing stuff like this, is just I just love it. I mean, like I've got a bass there, and when I used to have like a whole bunch of guitars at one point. I had a bass at one point, and you know, it's just like my first instrument was a bass. Right? I actually, I think I should bring it up, show you how terrible I used to be like, and how creative my brain was. That I had to be able to do everything that was shaped to me, not how it is, but shaped to how I looked at things. And I'm so glad now that I don't have that brain cell working. It's kind of, I find myself very happy that I don't have to force things to be the way I want it to be. I just let things to be the way it is. And I was thinking about that when I first got my bass, and I was like, a couple of weeks in, I was like, why haven't you put stickers all over this thing? Why haven't you painted it? Why haven't you reshaped it or something? And I'm thinking like, I don't need to. I it can just be its thing. And it's very and before I start, thank you guys for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. I had so many friggin' birthday wishes on my Facebook. Like they're still coming. And I this I've posted this week that this is the last 6 years of has been the greatest and most joyful time of my life. Yes, there have been stresses. Yes, there have been people trying to cancel me, for having thoughts. Yes, I'm people misunderstood what I was trying to say. But at the end of the day, I've had so much success, and I've had so many people come alongside and say, try this. Okay, try this. Okay. And all that's been is because I've had so many creative people around me in the last 6 years that I haven't had before. It's always been like me trying to fight the wall, right? It's like smashing my head against the wall, fighting that thing that's always been there in my life, which has been depression and manic depression and mental health issues. And, you know, things I've had to deal with because of things in the past. And even things in my midlife and things even in my, late teens. And so I just felt like that looking back these last 6 years, where I'm not surrounded by people in my house. I don't have my mum and dad with me. I'm not, I did, for about 3 months, I had to move back after being separated from my ex in about 2010. And it was just like, I don't know if I can handle living at home where I'm my parents. And not because my parents are anything bad. They're freaking amazing. My mum and my parents are just so supportive. And I just feel like despite all that we've been through, and all sort of, I look at myself and I go, man, I was a terrible kid. But that also comes down to the fact that I had issues outside of the family that was happening to me that I didn't know how to deal with. And of course, drug and alcohol and what have you, friends, even people that are older that just wanted to, take advantage of me and stuff like that. But I think I can look back and go, I was like, at 2010, I'm separated because I've had a car accident 3 years earlier. My whole body's crashing on me. I don't know how to deal with my, emotion, because it's like one moment I'm like really high and happy, and the next moment I'm really down and angry, and I'm thinking why? And it's like figured out that things were going on, but also the medication that given me for my car accident and my head injuries and neck injuries were just toxic in my body mentally, and so got locked up for about 2 weeks until they figure out what was wrong. And I was like, came out of it and going, wow, I just didn't realize that's how badly chemicals, even over the counter or, doctor prescribed medicine, can be toxic to your system if you're not careful. And also if you attach alcohol to it or drugs to it, right? And then that also becomes even worse. So I'm just so grateful. I think, it's just so, I'm just grateful more now than I've ever been in my life. And I think that's the best thing about life, is to be grateful, right? So let me take this off and I'll just put up this image of, let me see, this was my first instrument, right? Um, so you guys get to see, this is what I actually did to my bass. And this was like about 90, no, it was around about maybe 91. Like, I mean, seriously, check this thing out, right? Where are we? Here we go. Can we get a bigger picture? Let me go to the side. There you go. Right? I mean, there's my, it's an entry level bass, by the way. It cost me about $300 back in friggin' 1990 or 89, whatever it was. And it's just your solid body bass, normal standard. But then I had to be creative because I was into Primus, and I was into grunge, Soundgarden, I was into death metal, like, so everything, I was into everything. But as long as it was metal, I was happy, right? But then again, like when I was with my girlfriend, my Taiwanese girlfriend, Ichin, right? Uh, we were listening to Sade, right? No Ordinary Love. That was my favorite song. So I'd put that on every time we were together, right? Just hanging out. But, and like I was saying about art, right? Being creative and stuff, like just look at, just friggin' going crazy with it. And just cutting it up, this standard body, by the way. What I mean by standard body is something like this on a bass. So if we're talking about like about 1990s, so what is that? That's like about 34 years ago, something like that, right? So this is your standard bass, right? This is your standard bass size. Too far away, right? That's the way that should be, but a bit more bulkier because of being one of the original sort of setups for standard bass. So I guess a Fender shape, but so that's what I was saying, like about how like when you become creative, you think like everything's got to be part of you, got to change the world around you, and I think a lot of times that can be detrimental. Like you can see what the friggin' bass looks like, right? It's very, I just in the end, it, around about 2003, it just sat there in pieces, right? I'd gone across and edited a huge, really cool, funky, uh, across here. You can't see it. This is the original, but I actually edited a huge bass pickup, which cost me about $80 on the day way back then. So I mean, the friggin' bass itself was like $300. Oh no, here it is. Oh, there we go. It's actually at the back there. So that's a huge pickup. So your usual standard pickups are basically like this. Damn, it's been sitting there. It's got dust on it. Because I just pick it up and play, and I don't think about, because it sits on its own, what is that called? Case? Yeah. And so you can see your standard little friggin' pickup there, and then you got this huge pickup that cost me, I think it was Fender. Kind of looks like Fender on a basically a entry level bass. But I don't, most of the time I think I sold this. But I sold a guitar with it, a lead guitar with it, because at one point I had two lead guitars, and I also had the bass, right? And I had a friend who was, who actually hung himself like around about 2008, maybe 2008. Um, Brilliant, had a business and everything, small business over in Aussie. Got addicted to methylated spirits, thinking hey man, if you got some time, hey, also Neil, Kyle, if you guys want to pop on, yeah, jump on, man. I'll give you this invite thing, because yeah, this is just a fun stream. I'm just talking until I get to the unboxing, and so, which is here. It's a bit expensive, and probably the most expensive single one I've paid for in a couple of years, because the last one I bought was like about $350. Yeah. Probably thrown away. I have no idea. I think it might actually, if we're lucky, right? Like it might be sitting at my parents' home and shed somewhere. But I've moved around so much, and this is the other thing about me, right? Since I moved out of my house from my parents' place around about 17 years old, I've moved around every 4 years or something for my entire life, right? From about 16, 15, actually, no, it was 16 going on 17. I remember that. And so when I moved out of home about that age, and so I'm 51 today, right? So all things got left over, moving around. Things got stolen, things were left behind. And so most of the time when I move, I try to get all my stuff up to my parents' place first. And so there's a pile of stuff that I haven't even touched in a decade or two, that because my parents stay in the same place. So, and there's hardly any room there because my junk's always there. And so probably it's there, Nathaniel. And also, Nathaniel, I'm gonna I realized this morning, I think you can't make people moderators until you get your 1,000 or 500 or whatever it is subscribers. But like I was thinking, like I should, I'm not sure how that works, but I will try to get even Nugget and Kyle. I would love for you guys to be moderators, just so that you can share your channels as well, rather than me going, "Hey, share your channel." But do share your channels. Nugget, do share your video, because you're an amazing animator, and it's just really cool. All right. Cheers, dude. Yeah, so and that's so now I tend to be more creative in the comic books, right? So as you can see, this is a base that I picked up in 2022, which is about 3 years. Man, life goes faster, right? So entry level Jackson base. Um, all up. I wanted to go back to learning bass, and I wanted to go back to. And when I was watching that guy just before, right, Venom, I was thinking like, man, I wouldn't mind having a guitar around, and it'd be cool to, because I mean, I'm so used to actually playing guitar as well. For a few years there, I was playing guitar for a youth band, because I was working as a youth worker around about 2002, I think. I was paid as a part-time youth worker, and so yeah, my first guitar got Nick. Would be crazy to cross paths with it again someday, and crap as it was. Yeah, I mean, if you guys know the history of uh, Megadeth, right? Dave Mustaine, right? When he was playing in Metallica, right? Um, he actually stole his first guitar, and he said that years later he actually went and found the guy and gave him his I think it might have been a Jackson or a Washburn back then. I think he was playing as a restitution, and that's another thing about life, is that like you can't have regrets. You can try to fix your you know mistakes, but sometimes there are people who expect you to do it forever, like to um, be in their pocket, have you in their pocket forever. I think that sort of is kind of sad thing for people to do to each other. I think once you go, hey, I'm sorry, and how do I fix it, and then fix it and move on. And I think what I love about I love about what Mustaine did was, yeah, guy's a millionaire, is getting all these making music, doing concerts and stuff, and then also going, yeah, I was a shithead when I was little. Like I say, I mean, I was a shithead when I was little, even my teens, and I just even like my 20s, sometimes I think back, I go, man, when I got drunk, I wasn't really thinking of anybody else. It was always about me. And I think that's something that I've had to have a deep look into myself about, and like, okay, well, how do you change? How do why? And one of the best things that I found for me to change was watch TED Talks about neurodiversity, right? About how your brain works. I think that's as the older you get, we tend to forget that as children, until we're around about 22, 21. and of course females mature faster, right? And so they always look down as on boys or young kids or young men as like, oh, they're not smart enough and stuff because their brains don't develop that fast. And and one of the things when I was, like I mentioned, as a youth worker, was that I had to look at that way back in like 1990s, like late 1990s, when I was working as a volunteer youth worker. Like, why do kids behave the way they behave? Like, I know why I behave, you know, but like, how do other people behave? And you look at issues around parents, issues around peer pressure, about bullying, about relationships, music, and how people uh, tie themselves to music and what they love in a more of a relationship way than they do to parents and to friends, because sometimes the music becomes that the escape that they need. And I know for me it was like I couldn't go to sleep in my teens unless I had songs on. That's how crazy my brain was. I just having so much emotions going on and depression and all that. And the only way I could go to sleep was having freaking Metallica yelling in my ear or playing, song. And so music has always been something really important to me in that aspect. And so, then later, like actually picking up a bass because we decided we wanted to do a band thing in our, in our late teens, going 19, 20. And so one of my friends who decided he was going to play lead, and I said, I'll play bass then, because I've always loved bass because of, watching that awesome friggin' video by, because I had the live Cliff Moore video, right? So Cliff Burton, let's play a bit of that, and hopefully they won't destroy me on here. Cliff Burton, bass solo. And I had to, like, back in the day, you couldn't just go on and, this one. Nope. Let me find the right one. You couldn't just go on and online and find something. You had to go out and pay money for it and buy a freaking and so that's why I say why I love this generation is I can just go online and watch Cliff play whenever I want, right? If I have a thought in my head, I'll go watch it, right? And now I've got, I can watch Cliff, and I think that's why I say this is the greatest time to be alive. But also, it's always the most tumultuous time because people, they're humans are always such fickle creatures. They rather have turmoil than peace, and rather have somebody else's property than enjoy what they already have, right? Or work towards wanting what you have, right? And I think a lot of times people just think that taking others and allowing, I think, like, I mean, let me say, like, one of the, I mean, they say like 10 commandments and all that, right? But if you really think about it, it's about coveting, which is like wanting, is the greatest sin of all, I think, because what it does is like makes you, like, there's two ways you can go right in life. You can go, oh, wow, I love that. Now let me go and work hard to, to go and earn the money to buy that, right? Or you can go, you know what? I'm going to destroy that so that nobody else can enjoy that. Or I'm going to take that for me. So there's three ways, I guess. But back in, like, I guess about 88, 89, I think. It was Mega that got me into friggin' thrash metal, speed metal. But with So Far So Good, So What? But let's have a check this out. Like, I love this, and like this was one of my, because like I said, I had the Cliff and Moore video. I think it cost me like $40 or something back then, or 37. VHS, right? And all that stuff, it's all gone. Like, over the years, everything's sort of gone off, and I've had to recollect and repurchase, and try to find what I've lost again, because I want to enjoy that again, right? So this is from Cliff and Moore, right? And is it? Wait, hold on. I wanted the other one. Look at this mess. Hold on. Hey.
Over here. Everyone, hi Cliff, how you doing?
this was included in the video. That's why I always picked up my bass. You know, and then Brian was singing along and saying, yes. What's that phone? Everybody look at bass. People talk about the phone, and it's like what is the sound like? What is that? Especially mixed on the bass. Yeah. That one. I love, like, I'm a riff guy, right? So I don't. Gosh, what is this thing? There we go. So I'm a riff guy. So what that means is I like, you know, the intro. You know, so when you have a play like at the start, you know, something like this here. And just the intro. Is it here? That. So it kind of feels like a bird, but it's like a bird. I love how aggressive he was on the bass. It's something that everybody's got their own style. But I think that's one thing I love about him. It's just he attacks the damn thing, you know. And it's just, yeah, it's just awesome. But I'm just going to play something from because we're talking about POD is going to have an album this week, right? So I mean, album released this Friday. So let's go check that out. And there's a song they released recently, and they released another song. So this one's "Lies We Tell Ourselves," and so let's have a look at the lyrics, right? So here we go. So lyrics are "Lies we tell ourselves. You ain't fooling anyone. Nobody's saying nothing. Everybody knows what's going on. It's the lies we tell ourselves. We make believe because it's so much fun. Nobody's saying nothing. Everybody knows what's going on. You know." And he goes, "I hear these voices screaming in my head. I don't care, but this is what they said. It's got to be true if they say so. I've heard it all before, but I can't let it go. I don't know when this will ever end. Just because he said it once, I won't believe it. I will lie to myself even now and then." Yeah, it's kind of, you know, what I'm talking about. Like, you know, got to work out what's going on in your head so you can get through the clutter, you know, of everything. So this is it's kind of, this is kind of like a, it almost feels like a ballad, you know. But yeah, let's take a listen.
Lies we tell ourselves. You ain't fooling anyone. Nobody's saying nothing. Everybody knows what's going on. And it's the lies we tell ourselves. We make believe cause it's so much fun. Nobody's saying nothing. Everybody knows what's going on. I hear these voices screaming in my head. I don't care, but this is what they say. It's gotta be true if they say so. I heard it all before, but I can't let it go. I don't know when this will ever end. The lies we tell ourselves, you ain't fooling anyone.
So that's that one. And then they had like another one that they released, and this is this one here. Excuse me. The awesome thing about that is it's very heavy, it's very grindy, and you know, I don't know what else to call it. You know, terminology is metal, like it's very thick sounding, like fresh sounding, but it's also got that really softness to it. And I mean, the first time I ever had POD, and I've actually seen these guys live, they came in New Zealand, and I think it might have been about 99 or 2000. I'm not really sure when, because you know, all the years have jumbled because of the concussions. So we saw them live in Auckland on across my Aotea Centre. There's like in Auckland City, you know, there was like an upstairs thing. I don't know what the hell it is, what it was called or whatever, but there was this venue, and it was like the theater, and it was like very small, really, like only like about 500 seating venue, people, like something like that, seated venue or standing up, and we were all standing up, of course. And it was such a really cool, close environment, you know, and it wasn't like this huge stadium type thing, so it was really cool. This is like after South Tone Live and South Tone had come out, and so it was fun. It was really cool just to, you know, and they were doing that tour all over, and I got into them like because they were on a sample album that was released here, you know, whole bunch of various songs, and they were on there, and I was like, Welcome to Hollywood was on it, and I used to thrash that every day. You know, like not every day, but I was just like have it really loud, and while I'm cleaning or outside and stuff, I have the stereo out here, you know, at this other place we used to live at, and with my you know, I think at the time my sister was living with us and with my friend Kevin, and so, you know, we'd be just out there and be like, the noise was like on 12, right? And so it was pretty cool, and I really enjoyed that song. If you haven't had Welcome to Hollywood, it's very interesting, and to think that it was like in the like what early 2000s that came out, just the lyrics, like if you really think about with Hollywood and stuff, that's everything that's getting exposed now. It's very interesting what they're saying, right, in that song.
The top of every mountain is the bottom of another. The top of every mountain is the bottom of another. Run for cover, you'll discover some will thrive and others suffer. Cause the top of every mountain is the bottom of another. Don't wait, don't hesitate. Better speak the truth, let it resonate and let it detonate and get blown away till you keep on rising to a higher place. Can't stop, won't stop, don't stop coming till we hit the top. Gotta keep pushing till the day I make it. Since they won't give it to me, then I got to take it. The pain today is power tomorrow. Keep on coming, but you'll never catch me running, cause I won't bow down. No matter what they say, I wouldn't do it any other way. Keep on coming, but you'll never catch me running, cause I won't bow down. The bottom of another. The top of every mountain is the bottom of another. Not enough to keep us smothered. Lower class, never the upper. Cause the top of every mountain is the bottom of it. Yeah, activate, initiate, go to a new level, see me levitate. Watch me elevate to a better mind state in a positive dimension of a better fate. Talk about it, be about it. Ain't no doubt you better go all out. When your heart starts racing and your body shaking, you only get one shot, so you got to take it. The pain today is power tomorrow. Keep on coming, but you'll never catch me running, cause I won't bow down. No matter what they say, I wouldn't do it any other way. Keep on coming, but you'll never catch me running, cause I won't bow
So that was pretty cool. So I reckon with the album coming out like in 2 days, right? Because it's the first today, and talking about the first, I'm kind of bummed out that Deadpool isn't freaking coming out this month, because usually if you look back on the last 2 and 1, it was always around May, and so I could like go, oh yes, I can go to the movies in May and celebrate going to the movies and watch Deadpool. And sadly, I think it's next month or it's July it's coming out, which kind of sucks. But I would love to, Onarahi sign equals, yes, you're right. And the guy who's actually done that is a friend of ours, right? Nicholas Knapp. He's a local MP. He's with the council member here, and so I actually know him. So let me, having said that, let me show you our local, you know, him, and also our new mayor and our previous mayor. I had a photo of them taken about 2022 because we're very like New Zealand's very different to elsewhere in the world, right? We're very personable to our to I guess our local community and stuff. And like I said, I'm part of the art scene here, and with all the creative people I've been able to thankfully and gratefully be connected with and be a part of. So I'll show you this. I just put up this on my Facebook today, a whole bunch of photos over the last couple of years of changes, right? So here it is here. I just put this up about an hour ago. So this is Nicholas right here. He's actually, if I remember, is he American or Canadian? I can never remember. So that's him here. He's the one who did the sign in Arahi. And of course, this is Sue, who's our previous mayor, and this is Vince, our current mayor. And so, of course, my fedora and me. And this was at an event, a local event celebration. Gosh, I can't remember what they're called, but they're Indians from Malaysia. So there's quite a large Malaysian Indian community here, and so a lot of them are nurses and medical people and stuff. And so they had an event on in 2022, some sort of like cultural celebration for them about it's some sort of like religious connection to their own, to their people back in India and also to their people in Malaysia. And as you know, Indians move around the world like everybody else has over the generations, right? And so that was pretty cool. So that's the guy who's responsible for the, for the sign that Nathaniel just mentioned, right? So Onarahi sign. Let me just see if I can bring that up. So Onarahi. So it's not one rahi, it's Onarahi, just for those who are from elsewhere. Sign. Let's see if it'll come up here. Here we go. Perfect. Just write an Onarahi sign, and it was his idea, and everybody's sort of like, as it's kind of like I don't know, like happy about it, proud about it. Will it come up? Just wait on this, and it will. This side of town. Hold on. Where is there? It is. Gosh, it's taking ages. So this is a sign that, and I think it's about, is it 10 foot or something like that? Where is size about it? But yeah, that is the honorary sign that was mentioned by Nathaniel. Thinking it, I've forgotten about this for a while, because to get to it, you have to cross like bridge, and then it's Parahaka Riverside, and then you go, and that's right, like about only 3 minutes drive. So this is where Onarahi is, and it's such a beautiful place. This whole area. No, Nugget, give us a link, or let me just search it up. Wellington sign. What is Wellywood doing? Wellington city sign. What does it look like? I mean, I can't. I did a quick search, so on Welly. For those of you guys who don't know about New Zealand, Wellington is at the bottom of New Zealand, but like almost at the bottom of the top island, like the North Island of New Zealand. So there's 2 islands plus another little one, right? Which is it Tasman? Can't remember. But actually, the best way to probably do it is show you some artwork, right? Artwork's probably the best way to show people things. So I actually currently we've been working on a comic book called Zealandia Fantastical Romy. You know, Zealandia is the main title. Fantastical Romy is the first story arc on it. And part of that, and I think if you've watched the recent interview we did last week, I think it was like Sunday, maybe Saturday. With Joachim Hagström from Sweden, who's an artist on that. He is working on the comic book. So let me just show you what I mean by the 3 islands in New Zealand. And some people do know, some people don't know, and like I said, I don't even know. So I think it's Tasman. But this is the North Island, and this is like, for our comic book, Zealandia, the world building. And so it's 1/10 the size of New Zealand for this story. So there's your North Island. We live here. And so Wellington, of course, is around here. If I remember right, Dennis Island. Yeah, Wellington, Wells Deep, right? So I call it Wells Deep in this world. It's about here. And then, of course, you have like that one. And, and so when I went to study for my filmmaking course for about 3 years, I lived there for 3.5. I worked for, all that time. There's this place here called Invercargill. That's what we call it, Gill's Landing. And that's the bottom of the main, and then you've got this island here, Stewart Island. There we go. It's good to, so yeah, we're calling it Milaras for like a lizard man lived there, and the dragon, so the fire dragon Milara lives there, right? And so or fell there and died there. Yeah. So all of these things have like specific things. So it's so where we live is what I'm calling Kian's Corner. Waters Range. Kian Corner is Morewa, which is where originally from when we first came to New Zealand. So Waters Range is where we are right here. And so Auckland is about here, Jeffers Landing. And it's an inside joke, by the way. I mean, for New Zealand Kiwis and stuff, they know what Jeffers mean. All right. And so there is that. And of course, then you got Kaitaia over here. Then you got like the Cape Reinga, Land's End. And also there's down here, like over here, that people call this Land's End as well. There's a place called Bluff. And so everybody's got their own Land's End, right, around the world. So that's that one there. But now back to, do you have a link for me? No. Yeah, so I can't remember. I'm trying to figure out what that sign is, but I mean, that one we're talking about, or is it some other sign? City sign. That's why it's probably coming wrong. There, I see. All right, let's go see this sign. Should have spelled it right? I didn't even realize I'd spelled it wrong. Blown away sign. There you go. The Windy City. It is called the Windy City, so that's pretty cool. That's classy. It's got that whole Wellywood look again, but yeah, this is more original, I guess, in the sense that it's like it's got, you know, half of the ton, you know, slowly getting blown away. The G is also higher up here. Good design logos. I like logo. As you know, that's all I really I see myself as when it comes to art. Like logo designing is one of my key things as a creative. And you know, just even like just before showing you the image there of you know, Zealandia, that took me a while to come up with, you know, because let me make sure I'm on the right. Yep, there we go. That, you know, coming up with a specific design and why those 3 circles are there and how this all works. You know, everything's kind of like laid in 3 sideways, 3 up and down, you know, 3 across kind of thing, you know, but also the 3 circles. It's all got to do with the mythology of this world as well, you know, 3s and stuff like that. Now, recently, you know, before we get to the unboxing, I'm going to get there, guys, but yeah, excellent. Yeah, that was the right one. So, I mean, finally I figured it out because I spelled the friggin' thing wrong, right? But yeah, it's cool. And also, you know, with like our own news, local one, which in the sense that Whangarei is a small town on, you know, part of our city here called Whangarei, and it's, you know, it's literally lifted like the way people see things, because like you can do really simple little things to elevate what, you know, your area, your community. You can and raise more awareness about what's going on and stuff. And so this, you know, exclamation mark, you know, all right, you know, and it's Honorary kind of feels like that. It's like everybody, you know, it's like Carmo and stuff like that. You forget those cities. All you think about is some, I mean, townships, because it's inside the main city. But you know, it's really cool to have that sort of stuff come up. So now let me bring up Whangarei City so you guys can see how it's arranged. Our wonderful, wonderful, you know, thing. And then I'll show you so that one would probably be city center. Or and here's another thing, right? So there has been a bit of chatter and stuff about what, you know, investment in a local art center that called by Hundertwas, all right? So it's like a museum art center. And for me personally, I just don't care. Like for whatever people's pro and, you know, cons about it, I just, you know, it's just what it is. You just enjoy it or you don't enjoy it. And I think, you know, it's here, it's there, you know, and it is important to just be able to appreciate the great things that we have on offer. And I love our city. And so you can see here, right? I can get a lot. Hold on, let me just see if I can get a larger version of, so you can see the way it's laid out. And then so this is a new bridge, and so Honorary is around about here, right? It's kind of like just off here, and then of course up here you've got further up you've got Carmo. Or am I looking the right way? Yeah, I think that's the long Bank Street. And we've done this, like we had to look at this really deeply for Fantastical Romy when we're drawing it and, you know, designing how everything's set up in this world, like because there's like elves live here, right? There's a kingdom of elves. This is like Parihaka here. And so you've got 2 bridges going across here onto this place, and then over this side here is Onarahi, and over here this is Portland, you know, where the ships come to drop off stuff. But also, you know, you've got all this huge factory style, not factory style, but big box shopping centers and stuff like that. But the main city's area is here. It's just kind of like off the coast around here. So there's your Pack and Save, a big grocer, but around here is the city center. but yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful place. I always say to people to come to Whangarei, right? Because it's such a gorgeous place. It's a winterless north, as we say, part of that, and it's just, I think we're more grounded people, you know. And the other thing I was going to know, I've just forgotten what I was thinking about just before, but let me just grab a drink. So it's my 51st birthday today, right? So this week I went out, and over the last 2 weeks I bought a couple of things, just random friggin', spur of the moment type purchases. And one of them was this, and we did a. We're gonna upload a video about this, and what I feel about this thing, and what was the whole unboxing we did about it. There'll be a video up, and we actually had excuse me, we actually had Nathaniel, who's in the chat, do the order of the unboxing that we did, and so that's all part of that video, which will be going up tomorrow. And then also there's, because we do a collector's toy collector's show every 2 weeks, and on that, actually I'm just getting really bad on my throat there. Let me put on some music, and then I'll clear my throat out, and we'll go from there, because it's just going to start choking. So this is one of the, as I mentioned earlier, one of the songs that really got me to get into bass, and then of course Primus, right?
Are you ready to get your teeth pulled? Are you ready to do it, Cliff? Mr. Cliff Burton, all right.
All right, I'm back. Had to really, clean that friggin' throat out. Still feeling it though. Now, unboxing, right? So the Magneto and stuff, but yeah, I was kind of like out of box. I wasn't, I'll let you guys watch a commentary on that. So we do a show every 2 weeks on toy collecting, because as you know, like all this friggin', there's a lot of toys around here, and there's a whole friggin' shelf full of, like, I'd hate to count them, because seriously, there is maybe over minimum of 500. I don't know, they're like containers of them. There's unboxed, unopened ones. Like even here, right? There's like ones I've never even opened, and they're just like in containers. They're just sitting there, and you know, and and then there's ones that are like on the wall here, on the door, that that's just stuck to the door, right? With a pin and unopened. And so that's basically what it's. Let me get this down. And I mentioned the containers. They're there as well, right? And just display units, shelves, cupboards. There's a cupboard here. It's like, what is it like? About, I don't know, maybe 8 foot. No, 6 foot. Sorry, 6 foot. Yeah, 6 foot. And it's full. And then there's an all drawers. And so I just like it. It's hard to stop once you get into this addictive nature of collecting, right? And so, you know, but one thing I did do recently was like over the last couple of years was like stop collecting comics because it just got too much. But not only that, I just got disappointed with all the new ones that were coming out. However, because Naomi's, comic was going to be finally Larry's comic was going to be coming through on Diamond, and you could get it, through your local shop. I started going back to the local shop because I actually decided not to do it at all and cancel all my orders. And because that was there, so I started to pick it up. And then this week I found out that Garth Ennis, who's one of my favorite writers of all time, right? When it comes to comic books, there's Alan Moore, Garth Ennis, and Warren Ellis was in there as well. And I can't remember who else was there. Oh, Frank, I'm like more than like a artist guy. I'm a writer's, I get comics because of writers. And so the last couple of years, it's just been about covers, like variant covers, because I like the art in the cover. Nothing in the story. Never read the story because they're just not worth it. But this week, maybe on Monday, Previews World, of course, the Previews magazine that comes out, and you can order off that. And I just looked at it and I thought, well, there's a Punisher story by Garth Ennis again. And Garth Ennis is probably one of the greatest, for me personally, Punisher writers ever, right? I know there's a Mike Barron and others have actually created the character and all that and worked on over the years. For me, the Marvel Knight series with Garth Ennis has probably been my favorite reads. And because of that, I've got action figures, I've got t-shirt. The other day I was wearing my, mask, skull mask, and it's also inspiration for a comic that I created called Red Dot. That we've done like a 8-page mini for, like a mini story for, short story for, but in time we'll find an artist who's interested in who's got the style that I'm looking for to work on the first issue, or maybe actually use it as a graphic novel, like a 90-page or a 40-page story. Maybe I'll just bring that up so you guys can see the artwork on it that we had someone prop up, make up, I should say, draw up. One of my friends is actually designed the look of the. I mean, I designed the look of the character, but he actually did the artwork on it. And where are you, Red Dot? It's a year before, right? So probably 2022. Offensive or. All right, so we had one of our artists who's actually did the work on Robot Nation #1, right? Come up with some designs on this and reworked it a bit. And here's some artwork. So since I'm a comic guy, let's show you some comic artwork. So this is Francisco's work here on the Red Dot character. And just initial designs on this. When we actually put the comic out, I'll include that in it. But then I did a retouch up as to what I wanted to look like, and so let me see if I can go forward or backward here on this. There we go. So I was looking, this is the original kind of like the look of the costume look of the character that Shane Evans, who's also a comic book artist and also an artist, painter and so forth, and airbrush artist, has actually did this for us. And this was the look of the mask and stuff. As you can see, that's, influenced by, you can say Punisher, because I actually wrote it as a Punisher story when I first did it as a 5-page story. But then I decided, well, why don't I create my own, character, and let's rework that. And so I count like the design and logo designs and stuff here, and the way, the target, I guess, so, and then reworking something, we can change it a bit. So how we go about making, because he's got like it's kind of like a mix between Automan and Automan Vigilante kind of thing, because he's like he's a former army captain of the SAS, which is a special army services unit here in New Zealand, like the Green Beret, in the US, or like the SAS, which the New Zealand's based off in the US. Now, if you really think about it, there's a movie came out recently from by Guy Ritchie, right, which is about the early start of the SAS, and it's like the ungentlemanly warfare. Yeah, that was like that's the most recent recent movie in light of like the SAS, but also there's a TV series about that as well. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but this is like the early stages of special, and that's where kind of like the Green Beret also, I think, if I remember right, kind of started going off on. But this is at the end of World War II, they realized that, you got to have got to be able to be dropped into a war zone and be specialized. You'd be able to go out in little units and do your stuff, right? And so that's how, this all came about, the SAS. And I did a lot of research into our own before once I decided that this character, a Red Dot, had to have something real to him, right? Had to be worthy of actually being a soldier and figuring out what sort of background he had to have, what sort of education in the military he had to have. So I spent like friggin' hours and days, like really looking up on that. I've got like research books all over the place because I went out of my way to buy them so I could like know what they were, what the character was about. I mean, like, you can create fantasy characters and you can fuse your own things in it, but if you're going to talk about like an actual special unit and a captain of a special unit that actually exists, you want to give it some life of its own. So that's basically where Red Dot comes in. However, today, this week, I've been like working 7 days a week recently, and it like kind of sucks because it's just the way it is, because when you want to, when you're creating and you in the flow, you just do it, right? You're not looking to take breaks because then you might lose the flow of what you're doing. So we just released another comic book today, this week, and this is it here. If you can bring it up, get over there. Can we go there now? There we go. Wait, did the wrong thing. So this is the Tortoise. It's an introductory $1.50 entry to this comic book. It's a manga. You don't have to worry about how do you read a manga because we put a page in there that actually teaches you how to read a manga, right? In there, so you can actually go in and like be able to figure out how mangas are told. It's usually right to left and then back and then side again, right? Kind of like a zigzag, right? That's an S. Yeah, like basically like an S. If you think of it that way, how do you read a manga? The way you look, follow the S, head to tail, right? So this is mature reader comic book about a young girl, right, 20 years old, 20 something, going on a journey about this to find out the legend about this mysterious, closed off kind of tribe in what I call Indonesia, right, which is basically Indonesia in that area with the southern South Pacific. But in our plunge fantasy, imaginary fantasy world building of plunge universe, this is another story that's there. It's kind of like a slice of life supernatural horror story. So that's what it's like. It's for mature readers. So it's only $1.50 intro. It's a full comic book, chapter 1, right? It's about 4 chapters in this, and it's done. We've got 2 artists on it. You've got the style here, which is like the primary storyline with Levi, and then you've got TC Rocher. Did an interview with him a couple of weeks ago on this channel, so you can check it out. Just write in, TC Rocher, and you'll be able to find those. Will come up. Also, a local at that time, 2 years ago, right? A local, is it 3 years ago now? Yes, no, it's 2 years ago. 14-year-old who was at our convention, and she was, she's a manga, anime, a manga artist. And I said to her, "Would you be interested in doing a cover for us?" And didn't know at the time she was only 14, right? And then her dad goes, "Hey, yo, she's only 14, man. I don't know if she, mature reader, right?" I said, "Okay, here's what I'll do. I'll give you some images, and you can just do us, an artwork for it." So that's why we've got this photo bashing. If you think of it, that's what it's called, photo bashing, where it's like a photo, and you sort of like draw on top of that to make it work. So this is her art here, and so I wanted to actually. The reason for that is because I want to showcase her work. So I paid her to, to do this for us. And because it's another way of like, when you're doing art and you're an adult, you kind of want to encourage younger ones to get into that as well. And because you can see talent, and I would like to encourage talent, and it doesn't matter how old you are. It's, if you encourage people, to apply themselves more, they can be, have a career out of it at some point, or just be better at what they want to do, and then maybe sell. All they want to do is just sell at the conventions. Don't even want to do a comic book. They just want to sell their artwork, right? And over time, maybe they'll come and do comic books. But initially, it's just about encouraging people. So this work is available now on the website, and hopefully, you guys give it a try. This was like an entry point amount. Because we're going to go back and do everything with TC later on, the entire book, because we're going to release it as a manga as well as like single issues when we finish it, so that we give you the chance of like, hey, I want to collect it as a manga book and read it all at one go, or I would like to have it as a collection to add as single issues, with different variant covers and stuff, right? So I can put it up on the wall, or in my box, right, in my collection, and hopefully someday, if you're a collector, right, it makes you some money back. But the other thing is just like, it also allows us to like have other people do the artwork. You get to see other people's talent, and that's what I think for me variant covers are, as showcasing other people's artwork, right? Showing that there's so many different styles out there, not just one style. And because all of them add to the to the wider community of comic books, it's just so good to to be able to see so much creativity out there in the world. You've got this one here, of course, with a Argentinian artist, Tomas, and his take on the book. And then I just said to him, like, why don't you do the entire book, right? When we go to print, it's all your work, the entire book, right? All 4 chapters, all like 110 pages or whatever it is all yours, right? And it's like, thick. It's all TC, and I'm the writer and he's the artist on it. So I think it's just seeing some amazing work here, and also saying, hey, look, own your work. And not only that also, all the time I get to learn from the artists as well, like seeing what their skills are at, and not only that, what they can bring to the table, because a lot of times I'm not thinking that way. All I'm thinking is like, close-up shot, this is what that will look like if they're like in this position. And then the artist goes and goes, you know what, I'm going to change the head to a slight change like that, and this look will look better. And so this is why, like, I think why AI would always suck at this stage of our lives, of technology, is because there's somebody else there with a brain with years of talent and skill who is basically able to bring their own decades of talent and skill to that table with me, with my words, bringing my generation, decade, I don't know why I'm saying generation, decades of learning as to be a writer and watching movies, reading books, reading comics, just eating all that up, and then now coming up with my own idea and telling a story, and then having the talent skilled person come up and put that into life, bring it into into the art on the page, not just like little lines of text, right? So one thing I want to, in line with that, what I want to show you guys is that I saw this really cool thing come up on my Facebook, and I thought this was really cool. I can't remember who shared it, but check this out. So this is a grandma, right? And there's a kid, let's just say that's Annalisa, right? And there's a granddad, or so whoever else. And imagine that, right? So he goes, "How do you draw so well?" And she goes, "Practice. It must be an innate gift, a gift from God. It's practice. I will never understand how some people are so talented. A mystery." And Sarah, Anderson goes, "Practice." Right? And I think that's what, like, everybody who does AI art doesn't understand, that the end result is years and years and sometimes decades of practice to get there and to hone the skill. Like, I mean, when I started doing logos, it was drawing Anthrax logos, Megadeth logos. It was drawing Metallica logos, Iron Maiden logos, right? And Sabotage was a band back then, right? And that's a logos, Obituary, all that. Now, and then over years, now my eye and my brain, right, can connect with my hand to figure out how, a logo like Zelendia works, right? As I was showing before, how that logo works, or how friggin' a logo like a red dot works, because your first attempt at any logo is just your first attempt at putting an idea down. So, like this, like, why does, why why do you do that? Like, I mean, first you're writing out as REDDOT, right? That's all you're doing. But the more you kind of like look at it, you go, maybe I'll use this sort of like font that might work. Or what if I, instead of like a O there, right? Why don't I put a friggin' target bullseye thing? But hey, not just any bullseye. Let's make it something unique, right? And so then you go and go, okay, well, I'll just put three little things there, kind of like a peace symbol, kind of like a Mercedes things, but not really, And so that's how, over the time, you think your eyes, like your brain's going pattern recognition, all this stuff. And you're able to do that where like AI can't do that, because the AI is just taking what's already been done. There's no learning there, right? It's just you telling her what to do. Like, I mean, like, look at the friggin' pencil work on this, right? Just, that's decades of learning. I don't know how long Francisco has, I've had a chance, because he doesn't, hasn't wanted to be on a live screen to have interview about his work, but he's friggin' amazing talent, this guy, right? And and same with of course, same with friggin' Shane here, and Shane's also got a comic book out. Issue 3 is about to hit, so I'm looking forward to that. But nothing isn't just instantaneous in art, right? Creating a comic isn't going to be done overnight. It takes you months and planning and all the time. And even like one of our artists last night basically sent me this house through, right, that we've planned. Like, okay, he goes, yo, did we discuss like what the house is supposed to look like for these people? I said, yeah, I think we did. I had an idea. I know what I've got it somewhere. So I did. It was a folder, but there was only 3 different ones. There wasn't like more details. So I went online and said, oh yeah, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. So he goes away, draws it, and then he comes up and goes, so what about gardens? What sort of plants should we put in the garden? I said, oh, well, it's New Zealand, right? And if on the beaches in New Zealand, you can't have anything like that you grow in, like kind of like in like a watery area, because the dry soil, this dry, what would you call it? The dry, salty air would basically kill them off and dry it out. And so I was thinking, well, what would work? Palm. There's a specific New Zealand palm tree called nikau, right? So normally along the beach side, you'd have something like a pahurakawa, which is a New Zealand Christmas tree, right? And let me just show you what that is. And the thing was, he'd already done that the beach area like that with pahurakawa, and I said, oh, well, we can't have pahurakawa at the person's house, right? So pahurakawa. Is that how you spell it? It's a native bush, and it looks like this. I mean, not native bush, native tree. Come on. And we call it that Christmas tree because around Christmas it comes up and it's like red and it's beautiful. Where are you, you little? Here we go.
Attempt because my gimbal was playing up a little bit, and we kept on rocking and rolling. So
Went to a
I've
video,
deleted
so
those
let's watch
ones,
this lady.
and hopefully it's going to be better this time. So let me turn the camera and get you some beautiful views of these trees.
That's cool.
Oh, there we go.
There
you go, Pahurakawa tree.
So you can see
One
that, right?
just
So
coming into bloom another week or so, and it'll be covered in beautiful red flowers.
yeah.
So I'm walking along the shoreline here of the Manukau Harbour and Kiwi Esplanade, looking across to the city there. You can see the volcanoes on the skyline. It's low tide, so there's quite a lot of bird life here at the moment as well. And I'm
So
going
that's
to
the
show you
pahurakawa.
these beautiful,
It's a beautiful
beautiful
red.
New Zealand Christmas trees.
Yeah.
So the Pahurakawa blooms at Christmas. They're gorgeous. Like the cherry blossom season in Japan, the minute they start to bloom, we start getting our selfies and we start collecting all our photos, and I start sharing them with you. And this is what the tree looks like. It is amazing. So this particular one is in full bloom. In fact, it's just getting ready to finish. The flowers don't last too long. The little red stamens all start blowing off and they form a little bit of a carpet. As you can see just on the rocks here, the rocks all start to turn pink, and it's really, really gorgeous. So looking out across the low tide, there's quite a lot of birds out here.
Yeah, so that's basically thank you for that, by the way. Who was this lady? Louis Poppy. That was done 2 years ago. So yeah, that's pretty cool. But yeah, you can see, this is what I meant by, like, on our beaches, you have those, maybe some pine trees, but because of the dry, salty air, it tends to, what is that called? Yeah, it tends to like kill them, like any sort of like other sort of plants. And so you have grass and so on. But so you were saying, like, well, I've already got those there on the main, sort of like on the main drag of the beach with the strip, the road, but the house is over there. And if I have it again, it's kind of going to be like nothing different. And so he said, well, what should we put in the garden? So it took about, a minute to go, palm tree, New Zealand palm tree, search that. Okay, nikau. Yeah, cool. That's what I want. Exactly that. So then I could go back and go back to Louise and go, hey, this is it. This is what I'm looking at. This is the type. Boom. The connection between the artist and myself. Now he can go and draw it, and we're discussing, what we want there. And then the other thing was like, well, we could just have a plain wall, second story of this house, or why don't we just change it up a bit? And why don't we put a window there, like big, large line slider? Because when you're at the, like any houses anywhere in the world at the beach, they don't want to have a blank wall on the, because at this house that's kind of had it, the one we were looking at, but like they had little windows, but most of it was just wall. And I thought, like, if you're having a 2-story house at the beach, you don't want to have a wall facing the water because you want to see the beautiful view. And normally, everyone I've been to in New Zealand, houses on the beach and stuff like that, and anywhere else that I can think of, it's always been like, especially if it's facing the sea, it's always been a big, huge window open so you can actually see and the sun coming in and the beautiful view, because that's why people go to the beach, right? For the beach and for the view, right? And so that's been something like, because you got another person there to bounce these ideas off, you're able to create such great works. Especially, it doesn't matter what you're creating, you get to bring that other person's bringing their amazing talent, and you're 50-50 working together to make this work of art. You're working on this because you're using their talent and they're using your talent, and together you're creating something great. And AI isn't creating anything great. It's regurgitating vomit. It's basically vomiting up stuff that somebody else has already really created beautifully before, and I think that's such a sad state, where people think that just because you can do it quickly, it's going to be great, right? It's art, right? Yeah. You can, it's like, you can't let these people who think AI is art get away with saying it's art, because then they'll replace what is actually art. And now everybody going, well, why can't you do it for $5? Right? It's diminishing of art and the time and the skill it takes to learn that. And so now Nugget, who's also, I call him Nugget, I'm always going to get it wrong, but right, he's an animator, right? He's a caricature artist, very talented, very skilled, he earns a living through it, right? And so he goes, I used to answer with practice, and now I answer with learn stuff and practice it. Learn more stuff and practice both of them. Keep doing that for the rest of your life. And that's from this cartoon I just put up by Susan. Let me just bring back up so you guys can see what that was if you just joined us. So it's got to do with this, right? By Sarah Anderson. And so, yeah, like I said, somebody shared it and came across my timeline, and it's really, and he's right, like, learn more stuff and practice both of them, and practice. And that's the same thing like when you're writing stories. Reading one book is going to teach you how to write stories or tell a story. You need to read and read and read. You need to watch and watch and watch. You need to talk. You need to watch people. You need to have discussions with people. You need to watch how they behave to what you say to them. And I think a lot of people think that just because supposedly we all have a story in ourselves to tell, and I don't think it's always like, not all of us are supposed to tell those stories, right? Even there's stories I want to tell, but I don't think anybody wants to, read those stories. But we can tell amazing stories when we step outside of ourselves and we leave ourselves behind and we let the characters, do their thing. And that's one of the things that, like, I just enjoy, like I said, like working with other talented people, art especially, because that allows me to step outside of my thinking and think, oh, what do you think? Right? What's going to work here? And then I see their work come back and go, oh, maybe I can change that a bit. And then go back, oh, what do you think? Yeah, okay, that'll work. Because I'm using not only my experience, as I mentioned, but their experience. And so, we've got this book, which is available now, but called Robot Nation, volume #1, right? We're going to be putting this out to Kickstarter this month. Yeah, it's May, right? So it's this month. I just got to get some quotes in and stuff, finalize all the work, because there's still some work coming in, and then we're going to go to Kickstarter to promote, not promote this, to get the printing side of this done. So you can actually buy this for $2.99 US off off our website here. Excuse me, and help us out in the meantime, just to check it out. It's only a cup of coffee, as I like to say. You get the regular cover for that, for the digital, right? But so the regular cover is this one here, and then later on, we've got like not safe for work covers for the digital, sorry, for the print release on Kickstarter. I've just hired a new colorist, right? And basically paying a page rate for me because of my situation financially. I'm just one page at a time, and so we've gotten 2 pages for samples to go to Kickstarter. So I'm quite excited about that. So that's part of it's ready to go. So, this is, like I mentioned before, Red Dot Francisco. We got him initially to come in to do that, then realized that that's not what he likes to do. And so I said, hey, why don't we do this instead, like do a sci-fi story? And so we ended up doing an anthology series, right? Robot Nation, and one 18-page story or something. Was it 18 or 22? I can always kind of forget. So 16-page plus a 12-page, right? So I think it's like 19 or something like that. Might be wrong, but 16, and all up it's about 28 pages of art, right? And so 2 short stories. Check it out. Links in the chat. But yeah, and so we've had some amazing talent come across, and friends, fans of the work, people that work with me on other work. Like here you've got Joachim, who's working on the Fantastical Romy thing that I was just telling you about before. His artwork that we're going to give just to print it out just for comic store backers. When they buy the comic store package, free, a cover for free for them, right? Because of their support. Also, you've got not safe for work covers, but this is just like 3 covers here. We have something like about maybe 6 or 7, right? That's coming in. There's also like a set of pinups that are all coming through as well from Art Victim. We've got James Hill. We've got Christian Zaffo, who's done a pinup that I'm actually coloring. But then I decided, you know what? Let's make that a part of the comic itself. So it's actually part of the comic as like a advert piece, right? Advertising piece. And so I just this is the thing about talk about, like when you see something come, somebody go, oh, here's a pencil work, just wanted, because I'm a fan, I thought it was very cool, really appreciate what you're doing, whatever. It's a thank you, and then I go, what if I take that bit further? Because of my thinking, it's like, well, why don't I could just put it as black and white, right? Well, or if I could have somebody ink it, and then I can then go color it, and then I can actually, you know what? Because I'm a writer, why don't I make it into a freaking story, a 1-page story, right, about that art? And next thing you know, it's part of the comic now. So when the print goes out, it's going to be about 44 pages, whereas the digital one's only 36 pages. So yeah, hopefully you guys can, will be interested in backing us. I'll appreciate it if you do. And this is coming out from the US. So if you live in the US, you think, oh, it's going to cost me heaps to get it to New Zealand stuff. I mean, get it over to you from New Zealand. Well, it is going to come out to be able to get it through New Zealand. Yeah, I think it's about 4 o'clock for you, isn't it? Like over there. Sorry, but let's do the unboxing right now. That hopefully you can spend 5 minutes, and I'll try not to talk through it too much. But this is our Kickstarter page. So it's just Plunge NZ, and you can go follow us there, and that way you can see when you're ready to load up, and ready to launch the page. It's there for you to go check it out. Now, where do we go? Is it home? Home. Let me just quickly show this, and then we'll go to, yeah. So I haven't finished this yet because I got to get the quotes and stuff and put up some artwork. But where is it? There's a preview for it. This is just some, looking at, because we got new colorists and stuff, and it's going to be awesome. So this is some of the covers, right? And there's so much more to artwork to come in here for covers and stuff, just to give you a quick story rundown and stuff. But yeah, really looking forward to kicking this off, and just got to get, got 2 projects done this week, right? Which was getting the digital release of The Tortoise out, the manga out, getting the 12-page comic over to Reverie Publications, which are for anthology series for they're doing up there. So that's gone out there. Behemoth, Templeton Behemoth 2.0, rewrote that story. We've redid the artwork slightly, touched it up a bit, so it's updated. And so that took all of April to sort out. So now we're into May. It's all about the Kickstarter, getting it ready, getting it ready to get out there, run this campaign. I'll get that done. So do follow us there. Now, let's get to this, right? So quickly, a background. So as you know, Swamp Thing has been, it's one of the earliest kind of like mature series out of DC Comics, right? So I only found it, I must have, like, when I bought it, realized that it's the 1st of May, of course. So as you can see, today's the 1st of May, and it came out on my birthday, and this is the UK print. So this is a bit more expensive than the regular, newsstand and the regular direct to customer thing. Now, the other thing is that I've got number 38, and I'm going to have to get this cleaned of Swamp Thing, right? Because they've got this friggin' sticker thing on top of it, and it's double stickered. Not even single stickered over the newsstand, but double stickered. I've never opened it because when I bought it, it was like in a Glad wrap, right? So I was like, nah, I don't. However, I have the one before that, which is the first appearance, of course, of Constantine. And this is in line with what we're going to unbox, which I've been waiting to unbox for like 2 days now. I think it arrived yesterday morning. And so this is the first appearance of Constantine. Constantine is in my top 3. There's Punisher, there's Batman, and there's Constantine. I never, at the moment, Punisher's kind of like a bit lower because of all the stupid political crap they're pushing with the skull and all that. But this is another one that needs to be cleaned up. Hopefully we can find someone. I know there's a friend that we know. I think it's Ben Bacon in New Zealand, lives up in Auckland, who does cleaning. So I might send both of these over, or is it all 3 of them? Not just that one, these 2 over, and say, hey, can you, tell me how much it's going to cost to clean, get the stickers off them, because they don't actually have prices written on them. So I think this would be like a 7 or something, if you're really thinking about it. Once that comes off, and that comes off. However, I have 2 copies of this, and the other one's put away in the containers over here or over there, wherever, with the rest of the Hellblazer things. A couple of years ago, right, Hellblazer's like 300 issues, right? They've got like short minis now and ongoing new rebirth thing. Didn't really think much of it because I love this John Constantine. So a couple of years ago, I got this from the library, or somebody was selling it, and I picked it up for a couple, probably about $5-10 off Trade Me, off auction, because I just love comics. I don't care what condition they're in. I just love the fact that they exist, and because I love the art form and everything. So I've got comics that have like pages have been ripped off, or there's like bad condition, but because they're from 1960s, it's in my collection, right? I've got comics that are like for girls, right? I've got manga, I've got cartoon strips, I've got library books, so because it's still the same thing. However, a couple of years ago. I can't remember exactly when. Might have been like 2008 or 9. There was a, I can't remember her name. Hopefully she wrote it down. But no, she didn't. So she was coming to New Zealand, and we were going with my sister and her family, and it was my niece's birthday. It was in October, so her birthday was going to be in December. And I rocked along, because I went to look for something for myself, but I also wanted to buy something for her especially. And so there was a lady there who was working, who had just released a hardcover Wonder Woman comic book. And I've looked online to see who she was, that she was coming, and found out, like, in Wikipedia said that she had done, written a story for Hellblazer. So I had this, and I thought, well, why don't I take this up and I'll get her to touch it, do something for me, and I'll buy, I bought her what I wanted for my niece, and I said, oh, I thought you got, I brought this to get signed because I thought so, and then turns out she wasn't. But however, being an amazing, awesome person she did do the sketch for me from John, and I can't remember her name, and it's thanks, but let me just do a quick search. Maybe I can find it that way. Rick Hickateer or something like that. I'm Wonder Woman Hickateer or something. I think that was the name of the comic. Hickateer. No, that's by Greg Rucka. Hardcover, standalone maybe. But yes, maybe it was Historia. But yeah, it was interesting because she was like the that's why I also enjoy Armageddon here as a convention, because that you get to meet talent that someone like myself as a small convention runner isn't able to bring these big names over, because there's a lot of cost to that, right? Or talent over. However, it is great to support them when they come over, because then you get to see them, and you get to meet them, and get signatures, get artwork done, like I just got done from a well-known Wonder Woman writer and artist. Because if I remember right, she actually did the artwork herself in that book as well. So with that in mind, right, and I've given you kind of a background into the character, this. So let's get to the unboxing. Now, when I was getting this, I've been very conscious about paying big, a bit of money, like rather than a couple of bucks or $10 for a comic book, because a couple years ago I bought a comic book, and the courier guy didn't know what it was, and he threw it at me. Thankfully, it was so well packaged, because it was expensive, that when I didn't realize he was throwing it at me, and it dropped on its edge, right, like this, right, meeting the concrete balcony, that it didn't, I was just like, and it's like, and it didn't, like when I opened up, it didn't crash, because I can't really go being a Karen, losing my, head to the guy, because he didn't know what it was. He was like, thought it was just paper, and there's no sort of like special thing saying don't fucking drop it. But anyway, so when I went to buy this from auction, I said to the guy, listen, what's your packaging like, right? How do you send your shit, especially comics, because you got a price on this, and I'm not willing to part with my money if you're just going to send it in a little freaking, little, envelope that could be thrown around or whatever. And he said, no. Right. You'll get it. I'm a collector as well, and I know what it's like. And because I told him the story, I said, yeah, this is what happened to me. So I don't want to be, sending you a whole bunch of money and then realizing when it comes to me, it's like all messed up and, damaged and by the courier, by the post office, whatever. So what he did was he actually you know, got a whole box for a single comic, as you can see, all padded, right? Throw it around. It's not unless you squash it into something, but of course it's got fragile, right? Fragile, okay, fragile all around, you know. So this is how, you know, I know that he honored what I said, and he also backed up what he said as well. So let me put this down so you don't see me, but you see this, what this is. So here we go. As you can see, bubble wrap. And this is more of a bubble wrap, just like airbag. More bubble wrap. More bubble wrap. Like recycling. I love when people recycle, because I think that's a good way to, you know, to reuse stuff. I really appreciate it. Cool thing is, I now got a whole lot of zippy bags, so I'm quite glad about that, because you know, I can reuse that. And of course, bubble wraps, plastic bags, and bubble wrap, and comic book, and more plastic and bubble wrap. So it's very well, you know, very well put together. So, you know, and was really good send off. So actually, might as well just keep it there so you guys can see that. And then of bubble wrap around the main piece, as well as sellotape so it doesn't move around too much. And what I always do when I send stuff, double card it, right? Like kind of like a Gemini, but without the Gemini. So you actually, again, recycling. I love this. I like people recycling cardboard and stuff, because, you know, it's good. I am a conservationist at heart, you know, because when you come from the farm and stuff like that and little townships, you know, it's good to recycle and not just waste stuff and just throw it and get burnt and melt, you know. So if you got recycling in your area, you know, utilize that, you know, separate the cans from the plastic. So let's see what, I mean, I know what it is, but I really wanted to it's kind of like a birthday present, because I know the helmet I bought for a birthday present, but this is something that I've been wanting, and now I finally will be able to have, right? Let me bring this back. There we go. Wow. There we go. Suddenly got it. Finally got it. Just suddenly got it. Now, if you're getting it CGC, you know, comics grading company, or whatever else is out there, it'll of course go up about another maybe 10, maybe 100%, 50%. But this is raw, as they say, right? And as I mentioned, you know, I mean, like, I do have 2 copies of this, you know, like a reading copy, and I also have like you know, the first appearance of Hellblazer, right? But and also I have a better copy that is like put away across with all the other Hellblazer collections. I was going to like I was going to buy all 300 of the issues. Then I said, you know, yeah, it's not worth it, because I'm not going to spend that much money to get all 300 issues. So I thought I'll just get the first 20 or 30 issues, right? Or whatever. So this is a 9.6 and 9.8 Hellblazer #1. Gotta get big. Don't want to bend so much. Oh gosh. And that's how, you know, it was sold. You know, it was what you call it. That's how it was advertised, as a 9.6 or to a 9.8. Hellblazer #1, first ongoing series of John Constantine by Jamie Delano and John Ridgway. All right, so I have my 2 copies of this, so first appearance, so I don't have to worry about ever getting my first copy, because the cleaner copies over there, this I can get cleaned up again. It'll probably be like a 5 or a 6. I also have my first May, right, of Swamp Thing release of the Saga of the Swamp Thing #1 May. All right, but now I have what I've been wanting, and I actually have like a reprint of this that I put a few years back to say, hey, look, is that square? That's square. It's weird. Here we go. That the friend I was buying it off from, right, which is Jeremy Bishop, who runs Arkham Comics here in New Zealand. So he said, like, hey, I don't have #1. #1 could cost a bit, but the fact this was available this month, right? April, at the time that my birthday's coming up, and I, have #1. Now have #1 also. I mean, first appearance, right? 2 copies of it, because the first one I got was like really, and then so I bought another better copy, and that's been put away. But then to also be able to reward myself, well, I guess in a way, I guess my mum bought this because my mum gave me some money, right? That basically covers this. So I guess I'm quite lucky, because now I don't have to, the money I spent is replaced by a gift for my birthday. So yeah. So if, like I said, I am a huge fan of, John Constantine, and I just love the whole magic thing. And, it's kind of like, I like the fact that I grew old with him. And I think that's something that people kind of miss why the 300 issues of thank you, Nugget. You have a good one too, mate. Is that it's the only character that I am aware of in comic books where he grows up through the 30 years in the comics, right? From him being just a 20-year-old or something, like 25 maybe, to in the 70s, really growing up into being an older person, like about 60 years old in the comic itself. So like every time somebody came and wrote it, he got a bit older. And like I said, I think Garth Ennis run on it is one of the best. Jamie Delano is amazing, and I think he also did Lucifer, right, from the Sandman series. I actually like Lucifer better than I like Sandman, because it's just the way the character is written. It's just so cool. Sandman's okay, but I mean, Lucifer's a really good, like, it's just it's like Constantine. It's just kind of like a similar character to Constantine. It's not so, it's very grounded in the storytelling. It's the only way I can tell it. I mean, explain it. And I do love that about, I mean, with all the magic stuff that goes on about, with Swamp Thing and elements and all that, elementals. But like with Johnny, it's, as much as it's like all about the magic and stuff, it's really grounded, and it just shows you his struggles with the world around him, his struggles with himself, and blaming himself. What actually brought him on this whole run. Now, the most recent appearance of him in media outside of comics has been, of course, and I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but there's an animated series called this one here. So there's a whole bunch, and I'm going to be reading this because I was like, it feels a bit jumbled, right? This whole friggin' animated series seems really jumbled. It's they've done 2 parts so far, so it's going to be like 3 parts. It's an hour and a half each, and they're all around about 6 points. And the story, because I don't remember ever reading Crisis on Infinite Earths, whatever, but I just felt like, it just feels like that it should be a whole series, like an animated 20-minute episodes for over like a entire season of 24. But it feels like the way they've done this is like
The mighty psycho pirate, you've a role to play in the crisis to come.
I've got contact. Code red.
Kara, your friends are in mortal peril, but there is something we can do.
Reporting an unusual development from Earth 2.
Let there be light. And there was light.
We've got about 1 million shadow demons.
These attacks continue to come in all universes to each of their Earths.
What we thought was an antimatter tsunami turned out to be an ongoing storm without any predictable pattern. Wave home.
Another universe lost.
You think he just happened to be in the neighborhood when your planet blew up?
What are you saying?
What have you done?
I'm just broadcasting hate, fear, distrust.
I do love the Batman part of this, and I did really enjoy the Kara, the Supergirl side as well. At first I was like, why are they putting so much emphasis on her? And then because I haven't read the comic book, right? It's like from the 80s or something. But I was like, this deserves a TV series, not a 3-part movie. And I think this is the problem with why these things don't succeed. Excuse me. Don't do so well. Audience-wise or following-wise, like you don't see people really talking about, oh, this is a great series. This is a great movie. You're gonna love it, like they do about anime, because rather than turning these comic books, which I would love to see them do, like each one becoming a, especially with DC, because I know they do it really well. So just take the comic book and turn it into animation. Like you got like all this decades and decades of that. Just turn it, like take 300 issues of friggin' Constantine, right? Hellblazer, right? And turn it into a friggin' into a TV show. Why try to make movies out of it and just crunch it all down like, it's like, because when you do that, there's all these things going to fall out the friggin' side, right? It's like having a piece of dough in your hand and you're like squashing it, it all squirts out. It's like, oh, don't want that. Because unlike a manga, these people who like, especially DC Animation Studio, Warner Brothers, they don't see the value in the little things on the side, right? The side adventures, or because they all want to talk about the big things that are happening, and that's going to concentrate on the big thing that's happening. And that's why I think they're losing all the people to anime and manga, because, especially to anime, right? Because there is like a hunger for good stories out there that's like, we really need escapism. And the worse the world gets, the more we try to escape. And that's the way it's always been, right? Like the more a teenager gets stressed out, the more they turn into punk music or rock music or hip hop and stuff, because it's escaping into that thing. Or even like, into your book, right? And especially with me, it was like comic books and music. So when you see something like anime succeed so well, because almost it's like 90% of what's in the manga is actually in the anime. And so then because that's done so well, then the people who watch the anime go back to read the manga. But you don't see that happening in mainstream comics. And that's a sad thing. I can bitch and moan about it. I don't really care. but bitching about it. But I just see the patterns because I love anime, and when I watch that, sometimes I go, oh man, I wonder what happens next. Then I'll go and go, shit, let's go read the manga, right? And it might be like 1 out of 4 or 1 out of 3 that I actually feel that way, because it's the stories grab me a certain way, right? Like you all know that because you've lived enough to understand that. However, that doesn't do that for this. Like I like the only reason I want to watch this, I mean, like I don't even want to watch this now, but I do want to read the comic book because the friggin' like the episode was so confusing. If you just watch it, you're like, well, why are they centering on Kara so much? Or who the hell's this psycho pirate thing? You know, and then that's why I would go, okay, I'm going to go read the comic book now. However, if they just did, let's break down this freaking, what is like about 12-issue maxi series with all this crossover sites and all that, you could actually do a 4-season, 3-season arc of every single story that's come out, and people could just see that as a whole rather than a chunky bite-sized feature film in 90 minutes, right? An hour and a half, because that actually does injustice to the great creativity and the artwork that's actually been told 2 decades ago, right? Or if it's 80s, then it's like, or 90s, it's 3 decades ago. However, everybody that does work, that does mainstream work, kind of wants to put their own stamp on things. And so they want to push aside what has already been done because they see that it's like old stuff. Oh, we need to modernize everything. But I don't, I'm modernizing stuff myself. Like anything I'm telling story, I just go, well, I'll just tell that story, but how do I tell that story? What should I should tell it through? I just tell it like people I see around me, right? I live in a multicultural country. There's different ethnicities. I have parents who are multi-race, right? Different races. I have family that's of different race. So I wouldn't be just telling a story about Indians because that's just boring to me. But I'll go, write stories about other people because I have people like that around my life. And I think a lot of times people don't think about expanding and telling stories and letting people make up their own minds about those stories, which we used to have happen for us. That's why I have thousands of comics here, man. So hopefully that when you guys when you guys watch this, and then see the Crisis on Infinite Earths, you go pick up a comic book, right? You go find out what you want to see, read. You go, if you see our comic book, right? If you pick up a Robot Nation, you go, oh, I want a physical comic book of this. I want the full color version now, right? Because that way, it's not just you're not just consuming; you're actually becoming a part of what's being produced. You're becoming a hand in the funding of it, and then you also hopefully, because you enjoy it, that you actually tell other people about it, like I'm doing here, right? So thank you for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. I didn't want to go to 2 hours. I was going to go to 1 hour, but thank you for joining me. I'm just so excited that I have this. Been trying to get a hold of this for a couple of years, and I'm just, it's a gift to myself. But thank you so much. Wherever you are, be well, be safe. Thank you for hanging out with me on this birthday stream. Hopefully, enjoyed the show and the stream. But wherever you are, be well, be safe. And if you have a loved one close by, give them a hug and a kiss. Let them know you care. If you don't, use the internet, use, phones, use send a text, make a call, send out a meme, whatever, just to bring something bright into somebody's life today. Something to think about, something to put a smile on their face. Encouragement, music, art, whatever it is. Have fun doing it and share it with the world wherever you are. So thank you. I am now past 50. I'm into 51 now. I still feel young, but the body doesn't like to be, like body always tells me I'm old. But wherever you are, like I said, ka kite ano, be well, be safe. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.